Alright, welcome back, Generals and Admirals. This is General Johnny coming at you once again with another battle, a battle analysis. This battle actually occurs on Messerkirch, so I'm pretty excited about covering it, and without further ado, kind of just jump right in on the armies. So on the far left side of this map, on the Imperial, we have a 10-point Autriche. Okay, you can see them lining up here. Autriche is obviously my favorite army in the game. So there they are, a lot of the Bavarian soldiers. You can tell by their awesome hats. Actually really good in melee, this unit, so we'll keep an eye on how that goes. Looks like they're playing the right flank, and in the center we have 8.1798 Egypt. You can tell by the where'd they go, the camels over here, so we'll see that. I usually don't use the camels myself, but if you do, go ahead and let us know how that works out. Again, just not my favorite unit, but you can see the rest of their infantry. Also, typically the Egypt armies actually have a lot of, I mean, this is 197. Wow, that's a lot of soldiers in one unit, so keep an eye on that and see how that one goes as well. Off to the far or middle left flank for the French Imperial Nation over here. Yeah, what are we looking at? We have 10-point España. So, that I love. Okay, all the 10 points on the French side are really good. They have some pretty clean looking uniforms. Not gonna be clean after this battle, I'll tell you. But these grenadiers, they line here. Yeah, they're looking pretty good, ready for the battle. And the rest of their army as well. We'll take a little bit deeper look when they're actually in the action. And then what do we have back here in the way back is 1814. And you can see how they're set up over here. So 8-point France. This is going to be a little bit smaller of an army. I wouldn't call it a contingency force necessarily. I'll go ahead and skip forward until the beginning of this. Alright, and they go ahead and they SP from their deployment zones. The French are on the way to Messerkirch, marching down the road. This is a pretty good task organization as far as the army goes, getting everybody on the road, getting the cannons up to where they need to be. And yeah, so if you guys haven't seen the channel yet, this is General Johnny Strategy, where I go over real-time strategy tips on real-time strategy games. So that's exactly what we're going to do here today. If you'd like, you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the awesome scenery of Napoleon Total War 3, or you can listen in, maybe glean a few tips, enjoy the tactical analysis that we're going to provide here today. And again, this is live. I mean, not live in the sense of live stream, which we do those occasionally as well, but yeah, the commentary is pretty live. I may edit a little bit, but we're just talking about it as it comes. So if you guys see anything interesting in this battle that I missed, feel free to drop a comment down below. But you can see as the 8-point Egypt gets into place, and I think this is a good position for them to be in. I don't play 8-point Egypt very often. I honestly rarely ever do. I can't remember the last time that I would have played it, but they do have good mass. And if you're gonna have mass on this map specifically, oh, and now we're getting cannon fire. Okay, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like a howitzer, and unlucky poor horseman, cavalryman here. Oh my gosh, he is just sprawled out. That's a bad day for him. Yeah, so they are already letting loose with this artillery, and I can just tell by this off the bat is a pretty decent defense of Messerkirch. This is I actually love this map. I think this is one of the best, at least historical maps. Obviously, it's not a historical battle with the armies and everything, but it is a historical map, and I really enjoy it. But it looks like those howitzers are letting loose on the French. They're just showing them who's boss with those bombs blowing up. It's probably one of the most visually pleasing are the howitzers in this game. But you can see not a whole lot of casual. I mean, geez, I'm already 2 casualties. Is that a third one? No, 2 casualties off the bat. But it's really not about that. It is about the morale shock. And as you see here, we have some scout cav up for the coalition. They are falling back into their defensive lines, fully staked off and everything. And this is a really good position for this artillery. So 6-pound horse artillery. I love horse artillery. I love the 6-pounders. You just got to get them close up to the battle. But this is a great position. You see they're already shooting that canister. Not sure if it was super effective, but it will be. It will be over time. That will be a super effective position, especially into this coalition. It looks like we got Spain over here on the French right, coalition left, just prepared to fight and duke it out with the rest of the French. And we'll go ahead and check out what they're doing over here on the left flank of the Imperial French. Yep, so they're establishing themselves in this wooded area, as you can see here. And I'd say this is probably the right move. You don't really need to overextend. A lot of people will get very excited about fighting on this left flank and end up really fighting over this point here, which I don't think is necessarily the most important thing. And I do hear a cavalry charge, and it looks like we missed it, but they did have a slight cav engagement over here on the far left. So, oh my goodness, yep, they are not sure what they're dying to, actually. I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there. Oh, they are chasing down this cav unit. Is that what's going on? Well, whatever's happening, it looks like coalition has lost that first cav engagement. As we go back to the middle of the field, you can see things kind of starting to unfold, and this is a pretty good move, I would say, by 8-point France. Is putting in their forces, kind of bringing them in from the left side of Messerkirch, or really, yeah, the east side, I guess, if you want to go by cardinal directions, but the east side of Messerkirch. And they're falling into this side, which seems to be a little bit less impregnable here. So there's less defenses on this left side as opposed to the right. You can see those stakes and the barriers all kind of set up. So I think that's a right move. That does kind of isolate, you know, these two armies, kind of separates them. So we'll see as you know, 8.1814 France falls into the right flank of 10-point España, and they kind of may be fighting separate battles. And there you go, the howitzers just keep harassing them, and that's one thing about the howitzers that are really good, is you don't really need a direct line of sight to harass the enemy. And of course, French Autriche over here on the far right flank for the French, taking that armory. I was told to keep an eye on that, so try keeping an eye on what goes down over there. Definitely going to be a good battle shaped up, I'm sure. You got the provisional, 3rd provisional infantry over here. Nothing super special about that unit, but you got the Großherzog. That's a pretty decent French unit. Alright, and the chasseurs. So this is a pretty decent contingency force over here, even backed up by the Chevaliers League. C4s. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. And it looks like they capped the building. Oh, it must be the one over here at the armory. But you, and it is just ripping into the coalition. See how effective this artillery is. Oh yeah, you were definitely wanting to use those barriers as the coalition. The Ottomans are very happy they set up these barriers, because if they did not, they would be... Oh, they are still taking a lot of cannons, but like that would have been a direct hit, but they kind of skipped off, I guess. Still pretty unlucky for them. Pretty awesome scene right there as they fight in that barrier, and now they're falling back a little bit. Yep, you see that? That artillery hit that barrier, and it did a really good job. It's a pretty good job in that barrier. Luckily, they're indestructible, so they don't have to worry about it breaking. But they are going to fall back a bit, give up a little bit of ground as they kind of suck them into Messerkirch and pound them with this. That battery is pretty good looking over there. 6-pounders, nothing crazy. These are 4-pounders, so this is pretty light artillery. They don't really need to be. Really, the heavier artillery just gives you kind of more range. I mean, yeah, it gives you firepower, but you know, I think you can see the damage and the ferocity. Just laying into them. What a great artillery position. I mean, really, and you can kind of see the effects of these scattered bodies. I mean, and those are 4 or 6-pounders, so I mean, definitely effective there, especially at that elevated terrain. And over here, it looks like the Spanish are finally about to fall in on this battle on the French left flank, as the French kind of march up the side of this hill. And this hill is a very difficult hill, in my opinion, to fight. We also have some French cav flanking over to the left. And they need to be careful here, the Spanish do, because they already have terrible cav. And to be quite honest, if they're this outnumbered, yep, and there you go, they are going to rip off a charge. Let's see who wins it. I seriously doubt that the Spanish will win this cav engagement, but we don't know because of the infantry. Now this is good placement, because even though these guys are supporting the Spanish infantry that just went into a square, they're actually probably shooting their own guys in the back. So it looks like the French cav actually did lose on that one. But they also, I would say that the Spanish are losing a lot of men. So we'll see what this turns into, but it's definitely a good battle. And I mean, the thing about the infantry is they're still shooting their own guys. It's friendly fire into the back, so it looks like the Spanish were able to repel that, but it makes you wonder who had the better trade. And then obviously you had a trade up here as well, so and it looks like, yeah, it looks like the French might have gone a little bit ahead. And then you can kind of see on the right flank of this hill, the skirmishers laying into some of the cav. So yeah, there's a pretty good skirmish going on over there. I want to go back to the main battle as it kind of unfolds in this city. Wow, what a beautiful line that this Egypt, 8-point Egypt player is developing. I mean, that's a really good assault line, especially for this city, okay? Just want to get as many guns. These buildings are going to block a lot of the shots, but I don't think the Spanish can survive like a point-blank volley. They're letting them in a little too close as they charge over the barriers. Oh my goodness, yes. They charge over the barricades, and yeah, it looks like the Ottomans are pulling out their swords and fighting for their life. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't battle outside of Massacre kind of unfolds. Well, this is good that the Spanish do have that house. They're getting some good flank shots. We got some good grenadiers in there as well. So it looks like the French do pull off from that barrier. But the Spanish are getting absolutely just hammered by this artillery, which is, in my opinion, one of the most perfect formations I have seen. In my opinion, I mean, that's a good shot. This battle on the right side, just the devastation. They are just reloading. These 4-pounders. These things are reloading, shooting, and they are just. Their rate of fire is just very impressive, and while the rest of this battle rages on, and I mean, it's going to become an issue, right? The Spanish already don't have great morale, and the Ottomans don't either, to be honest, and it looks like both of these buildings are being contested, and let's see exactly what they put in there. Looks like just a normal line, but I think they may be backing off a little bit, at least from that building. They do take this armory. This armory has been taken, and that's a pretty good job. It looks like they may be going in for a kill shot. If they've taken that armory, I mean, that is the first big portion of this battle is going to be taking that armory, and then they've established themselves against this Spanish defense, even with the barricades, even with the town. I mean, to be honest, the French are just gonna outfire them. They're gonna outshoot them simply. Really, if I was the Spanish, I would have established more. I mean, maybe that's what their plan was at the beginning, but they're gonna have a open line fight because they can win that battle of attrition. But this close range melee coming into the factor is not gonna be good. Look at all the smoke as the battlefield thickens. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, pretty dire in my opinion for the Spanish. And this side over here on the left flank, great lines, two beautiful line battle. Now, the issue here is the Spanish do have the high ground, so we'll see. We'll see if that's enough. It's a huge slow difference, but everything matters. I mean, even this is a slow difference to make a huge difference. And really, all the Spanish have to do over here is attrit this French force, and they win. But it may be a case where that actually is being a 2v1, because I believe the 8-pointer was over there helping them as well. But as you can see, this 8-pointer, so this is the 1814, I believe this one was in the far back. They're doing the smart move, so they're in this, they've established themselves on this high ground in the woods, not going straight into, I mean, this is a beast of a defense on the right flank of Massacre on the east side. It is really just an absolute beast. But as this battle progresses, I don't know. I mean, the Spanish are pushing back. They are pushing back actually very well here. Now, this is very intense. Close quarter combat. Bayonets versus bayonets. A lot of. Look at that guy. Spanish, you're not supposed to be on the barriers, behind it. That is the most brave Spanish officer I've ever seen. Here we go. Adjutant. Flag there. Getting some real good shots though here. I mean, they are just laying into each other on both sides. The smoke billows in the back. It's great. Probably from the howitzers. Just the rate of fire is insane from those 4 and 6 pounders. As the left side kind of goes at it too, they begin their assault. They are sending, so they're cycling in and out, and I think this is a smart move by the French player. You know, if you need to keep these that are held up, a lot of the times the thing that decides it is the how tired they are. So if you cycle in and out, and you cycle different units to attack, if you can wear them down, and if you get them tired or exhausted, they're going to break a lot more easily. My gosh, that is crazy. I did not notice how many lives must it take to take the armory. Oh my goodness, that is just a lot. I mean, and it looks from the colors at least to be a lot of French. I mean, there's also a lot of Spanish too, but just for that building, jeez, yeah, that's what happens when you have these town volleys. Just a lot of carnage here, and the Spanish are running, literally running away with their tights and their boots, their high boots. Again, they have pretty good uniforms as well, but I don't know if that's going to affect the outcome of this battle, to be honest. And the coalition kind of regathers themselves. View of what's going on over here, and it looks like they are having a little bit of a skirmish over here. I did not notice. They are very outmatched on this right flank. Oh my goodness. So they're gonna have to pull back. They're gonna have to pull back from that building, or they will die. That is a fact. And it looks like, though, the fact that the French are able to establish such a foothold, and I mean, they've taken Messercourge. They've taken, I don't know, this building hasn't been fully taken yet, but they're using this kind of defilade, right? And this is what we kind of talk about, rear slope defense, right? Is kind of using it as a protection against the artillery. And then, you know, if they do decide to advance, that's when you peak the hill, you crest the hill, and then you fire from the high ground. So this is a really good, instead of just openly charging into this well-defended position. I mean, this is one of the, and kudos to the coalition players, I mean, this is one of the better-looking defenses that I've seen established out here on Messercourge. I would say, just because they're fighting over here. Oh wow, so it looks like the Spanish are considerably back here. And again, this fighting thickens too. Wow, that is it's pretty crazy actually, that they pushed them all the way down this hill. This is the kind of battle that I can see the Spanish winning is on this left side, Messercourge, the French left flank, because you know, again, all they have to do is attrit them. It looks like the French are retreating from somewhere. Not sure exactly. That may be right here actually. Yeah, so, and they have some good cannons here too. The cannons are supporting very well. That's a very good position. If I was the French, I would try taking those out as soon as possible, as they kind of get into a melee tussle, which, if I'm not mistaken, the Spanish are winning right now. So, gotta keep an eye on that and see what happens later. Back to the kind of the main battle too, and it looks like they've kind of precipitated, evaporated on this left flank. The coalition left flank is no more, and really I attribute it to those 4 and 6 pounders. I mean, even as they try to retreat from the battle, they are just getting hammered. It's just making this entire left flank just unattainable, honestly. So as they kind of get a deeper and deeper foothold, the artillery just hammers them. I don't know what they're gonna do, but the French do need to. I do know that the French need to grab this building here. This is not good that they're still fighting fighting over this. They are taking, that's a very good shooting building because of how high up it is. So these infantry are in trouble if they cannot deal with that quickly. They have completely leveled this building with artillery. It just shows how much artillery is being used over here. Just scattered bodies there. I mean, literally piles on piles here. Let's go check on the, looks like they're sending, the Ottomans are sending reinforcements, maybe. I don't know if they're sending reinforcements to necessarily help because they're in trouble, because again, I really do think the Spanish are winning over here on this flank. So they may be sending units to win this side decisively, because at this point I think that's what they really need to do, but they can't forget about what is lurking in these woods. As we have a cav engagement here, the Spanish cav is not known to be the best cav, but they've been holding their own. I think right there they actually lose and start retreating, so this is going to be dangerous. This is a bold move with the Ottomans trying to reinforce, to step away from their defensive positions and fight into the woods that now the French have kind of the high ground. Yeah, I would say they definitely have the high ground here. The Spanish do have some good artillery positions which are going to help out. The French are just kind of pushing them in further and further into that reverse slope all the way across this spur line. See how Messerschmitt is finally unfolding. Lots of carnage here. Lots of people in the town, and just point blank volleys here. I mean, and they're in a three-way standoff here. I mean, see if they lay into the creep, and they do, and that man is dead. He is not having a good day. Neither is, I believe, the rest of the coalition forces, as they kind of cower in the back alleys of this whole entire town. And this is a very colorful, engagement. Lots of pastel colors here. It's pretty cool. Reminiscent to just like a time where, I guess, passion mattered. I mean, they were hiding from anybody. But as you can see, the Spanish are really beating up on the pink guys here. Oh my gosh, but they do get ripped into. That's not cool, man. You're gonna destroy your military uniforms. Wow. Yep. That is like coordinated fight. Probably not. Probably just what they had there. Spanish getting into the mix of it. These volleys are devastating on the Spanish sides of things. I mean, they are letting them get way too close for comfort. But I don't know if they really had a choice. And it looks like even the Spanish on their far left coalition flank are getting beat back. And I'm sorry we didn't really look at this, but I thought they had them outnumbered. They must have sent some more reinforcements, the French did. And that's kind of what's been happening. And they cover their retreat across this valley. But I'm going to say that that square is probably not going to survive. Point blank volleys, I mean, yeah, they break instantly to that as they retreat up over that hill. Going back to the center, the battle for that building is so steep. It is just going. Wow, there are a lot of bodies in there, you can kind of tell already. I think the French are going to grab that pretty soon here. Good support on the outside as we pan across this battlefield. It is just a absolute point blank line battle. I think the Spanish have really messed up here. They are going to lose this if this is how this continues. They have to be slow, like I was saying. And now they kind of realize who's got the upper hand, and at a certain point the tide of the battle changes, and there's a certain apex, decisive point where they cannot continue to do what they're doing. So I think they hit the lines, became too thin, and now they're gonna have to retreat because they know that they cannot push this attack. But again, this isn't where the battle was supposed to be won. I think the Ottomans did send reinforcements, which got countered by the French reinforcements. So they're doing everything they can. I just think that the French are just doing better, and they did a really good job of taking Messerkirch. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have taken this town. They have taken this armory. And let's see that. This battle is not necessarily over either. They still have a lot of forces in reserve over here on this flank. But it looks like the French are getting some cavalry charges on some softer units and see if they can rout. The dragoons charge into a square and then get volleyed. I would have gone for the light infantry, and it looks like, yeah, I don't know what that charge was. Maybe a little bit of an instinctual charge there, but I don't think that was going to end well. And it looks like the French themselves had enough, and they're going to charge in and give them a little bit of violence there. Now the French kind of ball up. I don't know if they're doing too well in the middle. Like I said, they still have those reinforcements, but they are hammering into this cavalry. And this is just free exchange. This is unanswered exchange with this artillery that is probably devastating this cavalry. So you see the horses run off. At least the horse made it. At least the horse made it, but these guys punch holes into there. I mean, some of these guys are real fighters. I mean, they are standing up even after getting hit by a cannonball. That is crazy. That is crazy, but these horses, cavalrymen, not so much. This is very intense right now. I don't know who's going to win it. It looks like the Spanish have thicker lines here, but the French have been doing really, really well. The Spanish are on the heels in a way. The Spanish are not ready to give up yet. They're not ready to give up just yet as they take a volley. That was a devastating volley. I don't know how much more they can take from that, but they do charge at a good time, just enough to get that in. But these sapeurs are pretty good. If they get into melee, I don't see the Spanish putting on the plus side of that charge. get into the mix. Haven't seen too much of the Ottomans around here. I'm sure they've been fighting, alright? All the Ottomans out there, I'm sure they've been fighting, but I don't think they've been as big of a part here, other than establishing the barriers and so on and so forth. And as I say that, they are on the absolute heels of the French here, and they are really angry and upset. They want revenge. All the Spanish. And the French are like, no, sir. We will leave. Monsieur. I don't know if you're gonna let them off that easily, but French, do you fall back here? Those cannons are just devastating. At this point, you need to take that cavalry out somewhere else to just get them away from this cannon fire. What they really should have done is they should have just let them have it and gone off. And it looks like that there is a 12-pounder here, so that is in the mix. Oh my goodness! Wow, that was an intense strike. I think that's from the 12-pounders too. Wow, the cavalry. If I was the cavalry at this point, what the howitzer? Well, I can't fell anywhere near them, but. Spanish cavalry, if I was them, I would be finding a good place to hide right about now. And here we go with the Ottomans again, fairly fresh in this battle. They are doing a number on the rest of the French. This has been a very back and forth battle. I mean, you can just see the devastation around the armor. It is pretty intense. This will be a good line fight. I'm not sure who is going to be the victor in this engagement specifically. This Egyptian line down to 28 men. That's pretty impressive. That does not happen every day. It's not very common. They're still laying effective volleys into the Spanish. The Spanish are having it right now. And the Spanish are pretty fed up. And this is what they're using it perfectly. Using that deathblade. So they're not only using as coverage, they're only exposing. It's like a head glitch. And you can see only one of them died on the French side, and I saw three of them getting taken out on the coalition side, so this is an effective tactic, and really the best way and the smartest way to play this. Have a unit go down to 60 feet. And it thickens over here in the forest, still fighting, tooth and nail. However, it looks like the French have really thinned out the coalition player here. So 10-point España and 8-point France are also helping each other out. And they played it really well with this back and forth, and I think the Spanish know that they've kind of hit that point of no return again, a decisive point where they're not the thickness of these lines, and it looks like they have a cavalry in front. We have the camels to fight. The camels are carrying it up. It is up day for them. And they give a little bit of loss to the Spanish. The Spanish do not want to give up this ground. They are fed up. They do not want to give up this ground. However, I would have probably, I mean, look at all of this. I mean, doing well here, but I don't think it brings the outcome of all the other engagements, 3 or 4 engagements across this battlefield. Not going to be dramatically changed by this presentation. And it's actually very calm here on the French right front flank. As things finally settled down, there's really no one left in sight. So the real bulk of the forces is going to consolidate on this good flank. The French continue to harass cavalry with their lancers, and they easily rout. Careful not to run into those stakes. Oh my gosh. They got a little bit overzealous there. They thought they could take out the cannons. A bit selfish there. And the cavalry is deciding to ride out against the French artillery. They should have done this a long time ago. Take some nasty runs, and they are countercharged and met. Oh no. The French are coming from every angle to repel against the cannons, and the cannon crew run off this guard 6-pound H2 guard going to run off and save their cannons. I mean, that is textbook defense. And they are still not done with those Spanish cav. They run off from this battlefield. Looks like a melee may ensue here. French have done wonderfully well here. This is a very good flank. Falling back, very organized, kind of baiting them in. Cannon crew are still alive as they hop back on their guns. The Spanish are probably fed up with them at this point. I mean, these are guard guns, and a few of the cannon crewmen did fall just now. They kind of reorganized to man these cannons. The French have had spire superiority when it comes to these cannons, and I really want to see it. As they rip in with canister, I don't know if the Ottomans take much more of that kind of cannon fire. And I think they realize that maybe in a sign of accepting defeat, they decide to charge in there. does. And they instantly rout. Directly laid on them, but something did hold on. I mean, gosh, artillery is devastating. Tank, range, canister, wow, that unit will not be coming back to fight. Volleys, anti-point blank canisters. That's about all they can handle. I don't know who gave that order, but it feels a little unfair to them, quite honest. Canister is still wreaking havoc to the fleeing Spanish. Let's fall back from this battle. Looks like the general did die here. General of the French Imperial. Trying to see if there's any battles over here raging. There is a slight skirmish, really against the retreating Spanish on this flank, but you can see how this flank is gone. I really don't know how they won it that aggressively. Spent so much time looking at the real bulk of this battle here at the armory. The rest of the battlefield kind of settles down. We may bring this forward depending on what all occurs. But it looks like we are in the late stage of this battle. Still fighting over that armory. Cavalry attempts to take out really something that should have been attempted a lot more aggressively earlier on in this battle, and it may have panned out, but as you can see, those Spanish forces have now evaporated, and there's really nothing left. There's really nothing left they can do here. This battle has been completely won by the French. Little by little, each engagement, they had a positive exchange, and they used their cannons effectively. To the coalition's credit, they did have a very good defense established here. It just did not work for them because the French refused to fight on the enemy's terms. They chose where to fight, how to fight, and that's what dictated the outcome of this battle. Even on this flank here, that mattered less. They controlled where the Spanish line went. On here we go. The last remnants of the Spanish forces. They may have been completely to realize that the rest of their allies are already gone, but what I would find it would be a very difficult thing to be a soldier in this era, because you have no idea what is going on, really. Probably very has no idea what's going on. their eyes, they may think they're actually winning. They pushed this French army pretty far back, but I really like how they're set up. The French, they have a very strong line with good reinforcements to spike their morale here. These Fusilier Chasseurs. Very great uniforms there. And this battle has gone on much longer than what I anticipated, at least on this flank. You can kind of see where they're going with this. I mean, the rest of the battlefield is fairly calm, but this part of the battle is still raging. I don't think the Spanish have any hope here, but it is cool to watch, at least from afar. It's surprising to me that the Spanish have been able, in these very good units either, I mean, not that I know of, there is one. Some of these units are not that great, and they are still standing up to this French Imperial. I guess they've had it now. They decide to run away, but I don't think that that's even worse now. These volleys straight to the back, I think that's the sound of retreat there. Let's just take one last look of this. I mean, this is crazy. The amount of carnage that really just unfolded in this and around these two buildings, the armories. Again, swung the French way today, but only because of how aggressive they were, how they decided to fight, and with the artillery, credit to these artillery, some 612, don't know if I saw any 8-pounders, but very good guard artillery set up really all the right places. so that will kind of wrap things up for today. Thank you for watching again. Hopefully you enjoyed this battle. Again, Treetop Level submitted this battle, and send some likes and comments. If you want to send in a certain video that you would like me to do a battle analysis on, feel free. I do NTW3. I also do Broken Arrow games as well. But if you haven't already, this is General Johnny's Strategy. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.